Okay, this year is Lishpas Rachale Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi, and we're going to go into questions and answers. Okay, the first one, Rebbetzin Heller, please give us guidance on how we should be reacting to current events in Israel. Should we daven specifically for the safety of our soldiers, or just generally for all Am Yisrael? Also, how do we strengthen our feelings of empathy with fellow Jews and concern for our soldiers without falling into the trap of adulating the Israel Defense Forces and all it stands for, much of which is contrary to our Torah values? So the fact is you're asking several questions, so I'm going to try to answer them one at a time. So, first of all, how should we be reacting to current events in Israel? You should be reacting to them as though your own house is on fire. Because the fact is that Golus is artificial. It isn't that it's normal to be in Lakewood or Detroit or Miami. It's normal to be in Sderot. The tragedy is that our lives have taken us away from what's normal. The only way that Am Yisrael ever enjoys full hashgacha pratit is in Eretz Yisrael. So the first thing is to feel connected because you are connected. The shefa that you have where you are comes through Yerushalayim. Okay, so should we daven specifically for the safety of our soldiers or generally for all Am Yisrael? So as we know, Chazal tell us that the Satan is mekatreg b'shat sakana. The Satan gives forth accusations in times of danger. Unquestionably, the soldiers are in greater danger than somebody who's not a soldier. Obviously, somebody with this moment, and at this very moment, what's happening, I don't know when you'll see this broadcast, but at this moment, the army has been giving either information or disinformation. I don't know, it's hard to know from hearing the news, that the ground forces are going to be going into Gaza today. Realize what these guys are facing. These are 18-year-olds. They're facing booby-trapped roads. They're facing an extremely hostile population. They're facing people who think nothing of the most horrific, bloodthirsty acts a person could imagine. So of course, our primary prayers have to be directed towards them. And from there, towards all of Am Yisrael, especially those in the southern parts of Israel, who are under the barrage of rockets. And Hashem is there. I mean, just today, an 8-story building was hit with no casualties. I don't know if I'm saying this, and you get used to hearing the blasé tones of the news announcers, and a building was hit today, and it was 8-story. This is an open miracle. This is like Kriyas Yamsuf. Hashem is with us. What He wants us to do is to feel our lives as hanging on a thread and do tshuva, to make every day count, to feel achdus with each other and ava towards each other, since as Rav Shteyman says again and again, that it's all about ben adam lechavero. He says this again and again. We all know why the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. It's because of zarut, it's because of estrangement, which is the source of sinas chinam, of needless hate. So of course we have to feel completely connected, primarily to the people who are in the most danger. So to understand this more deeply, Rav Wolbe talks about the phrase, Lo tishtachaveh el nechar, don't bow down to a foreign god. His understanding of the pasuk is not only literal, don't worship idols, but one of the forces that we tend to worship or submit to is zar, is feeling alienated or estranged. We're supposed to feel connected to Hashem and connected to each other. For various reasons, we sometimes become defensive, feel separate, feel vulnerable, and we become estranged. So it means if you're having, let's say, an argument with your husband about where to go to vacation, you could feel, well, I want this, and I have to, and me, but you have to feel connected to him. You have to feel connection, not estrangement, not defense. So with that in mind, I'll address the last part of your question. How do we strengthen our feelings of empathy with fellow Jews and concern for our soldiers without falling into the trap of adulating the IDF and all it stands for, much of which is contrary to our Torah values? So the way you feel empathy is by becoming the person who you are trying to feel empathy towards in your own mind, using imagery. Become somebody who was in that building that got a direct hit and was saved miraculously. Be that person. How would you want the people who are part of your people abroad to respond to that news? With awareness, with tshuva, with change, with tzedakah. How could you feel concern for our soldiers? In your mind, be an 18-year-old soldier. Be that boy with his limited education. That boy, Rav Chaim Shmulevitz, and I'm quoting who said this because it's important that you know this, not some Zionist.